Hi there, I'm Frank, and this is a wine let's drink together. This is a really cool wine we're drinking today. Something that's really off the beaten path, but just super duper cool. There's a lot to talk about right here, so I'm gonna try my best to compact everything into a video that's somewhat digestible, but it's gonna be hard because there's a lot to talk about right here. The wine we're drinking right here is a $45 Garnacha, an old vine Garnacha. How old? 90 years old. That's right. These are truly old vines. This is not your 20-year-old old vine from Napa. Okay, and from a region that's quite tucked away in Spain, from the northeastern part, Aragon, which is an autonomous region today, super high altitude, 3,000 feet high, and made by a master of wine, Noel Robertson, who's been making wine for decades. He's Scottish, but he decides to live in Spain. And I'm gonna butcher all these pronunciations. None of this, to be honest, comes roll off the tongue very easily for me. But the winery is El Escoces Volante. I think that means that the Flying Scotsman. That's Noel Robertson. And the wine here is Cismatico. Cismatico. I don't know what Cismatico means, but $45. So not cheap. For Spain, usually as a category is known for value, right? And Garnacha, with the exception of Priorat, usually doesn't, necessarily is not really an expensive varietal. I mean, you have to go to France, go to Châteauneuf de Pape for things to kind of get more expensive right there. So $45 is not cheap. It's kind of in a premium category. But the wine is stupid good, just stupid good. It's probably one of the most memorable Garnacha I've had for quite a while. Let's drink it, and I'll give you some my thoughts about this. And if you stick around, I will go into detail using my 48-point scale. What the heck is that? You can go to the description of the video, explain how it works. But basically, I just I break it down. There are 8 aspects of wine that I think exist in all kinds of wine. Doesn't matter what it is. And if it's great, I give it a 6 point. If it's average, I give it 3. If it's very bad, I give it 1 point. At the end, I add it up. The most you can get is 48 points, and yeah, it's pretty geeky, pretty ridiculous stuff. So, but anyways, here's the wine. Let's go. So there you go. Some color. With Garnacha, I tend to like it, drink it, a little bit on the cooler side. How cool? I'm not so good with Celsius because I'm American, but I like to drink it definitely in the low 60s, maybe even the high 50s right here. So put it in the fridge for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's quite good. I also tend to like my Garnacha in a thinner glass because Garnacha tends to be a little bit higher alcohol. It just naturally puts out more alcohol, and when you put it into a thinner glass, yeah, you tend to kind of give it a little bit more verve, a little bit more energy. Just just some pro tips. But here's the wine. Let's go. Absolutely fabulous nose right here. Great sense of purity. Very good concentration. Very much red fruit driven. Some cherries, some ripe cranberries, but there's also a little bit of savory character, some beet, very nice right there. But it comes across quite juicy. And it also has that very classic Garnacha Greek note. I also get that in Châteauneuf de Pape. What is that? It's basically, imagine rosemary, thyme, but as alive, okay, not as a dried herb, but as a bush. It gives across that almost kind of a sweet, oily, darker tone. That's not necessarily mint, which you get in Cabernet Sauvignon, but with Garnacha, it's a little bit of that sweeter, oily, bushy, smell, but just gorgeous. Oh, and a little bit of that candy note, which I know it's when it's not done right, you know, it can come across very cheap and you know what I mean. You know, like wine's usually on the cheaper end. I don't know how they get to that. It could be from the oak treatment they use, or sometimes maybe, let's be honest, with the not so honest additives they put into the wine. But that cherry sometimes smells like Coca-Cola, cherry Coke kind of stuff, or maybe just flat out smells like a Snicker bar. That's never really that attractive. But this is not that. This is the true expression of Garnacha, which, when done right, can give you that very, very faint, elegant note. That's a bit of a confection, let's call it. It's candy-like, but it's much more elegant. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful nose right here. Pretty pure. I don't really get sense of a lot of the stuff that comes from the oak. That toasty oak, vanilla oak. No, there's nothing here. This is quite fruit forward, quite transparent. Gorgeous nose, gorgeous nose. All right, let's give it a drink. This is a incredible wine, absolutely incredible. I'm really really impressed by this. For it gives you everything that a Garnacha does, and everything I talk about. That richness, that delicious factor that Garnacha has, but it finishes so dry. There's no lingering sugary kind of feeling, and it's got good flavor, but there's no heaviness. And there's also a level of polish that I rarely sort of come across in Garnacha. $45. This is yes. I mean, it's not cheap. $45 is just it's not little money. But wow, when you talk about this quality right here, this is very, very impressive. A very, very interesting old vine Garnacha. And all right, I mean, if you're still watching, let's go through my proprietary and completely ridiculous and definitely unscientific 48-point scale. Let's start with complexity. Complexity, I'm going to give this 4 out of 6, which means it's good. It's not very good or great. It's good. Now, this complexity is the one part of this wine that's just slightly. It's probably it's a weak point. Okay, I think it's young, it's youthful. It delivers all the notes I kind of described. That candy, red fruit with a garrique feeling to it. There's not necessarily anything that kind of brings you more nuance. So for complexity, perhaps it's on the younger side. Right now, I give it 4 out of 6. Intensity, there's a tremendous amount of flavor in the palate. On the nose, this doesn't necessarily jump out, but trust me, in the palate, this is tons of wines right there. So I give this 5 out of 6. Very good. Purity, this wine excels in purity. This is a 6 out of 6. This is a great purity. It really shows off not only the Garnacha, in its truest form. It also gives you that high altitude, that old vine character, a sense of place. When it comes to purity, this is as good as it gets. Focus. Now, Garnachas are bigger wines. They just carry more alcohol. But this wine still has very good focus. It's able to be tight in its delivery. It never feels gone sideways. It never felt heavy. It has really, really good focus. Refinement. Now, this is a surprising part. I'm gonna give this wine 6 out of 6, which is great refinement. Now, what is refinement? It's a sense of, to me, a polishedness, right? How well is crafted. And to me, this refinement is 6 out of 6. It's great. I don't taste necessarily a lot of very fancy, expensive oak aging right here, but whatever treatment it did, and on the back label, it does go into a lot of nerdy details about this wine. But it it's just made in a very, very attention to detail. Everything is very, very fine, very tight knit, very high refinement for a Garnacha. This is, like I said, very surprising to me. 6 out of 6. Persistence. This has good persistence. Again, it could be better. I think, I give it 4 out of 6. It's, the lingering finish. It's not as long as I would like it to be, but perhaps I'm being a little bit picky right there. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 6. Balance. This has very good balance. Everything I talk about so far, with all the every aspect, the acidity, the tannin, the fruit, the alcohol, everything really, really comes together. This wine is very much one thing. It's kind of hard to break it apart. If I sit back and I think about the acidity, there's actually sneaky good amount of acidity right here. If I sit back and I think about fruit, about alcohol, about body, and all these things, they're all there. But it's just done in a very balanced way, so it's very well integrated. So I give it very good, 5 out of 6. And then last one, out of my most ridiculous category of them all, which is a resonance. Does this wine feel alive? Does it have the it factor? Does it have a vibration with this universe? And I would say this is very good. I give it 5 out of 6. Potentially with age, who knows? It can even become great. But right now, this wine is, when I drink this, I just feel, I'm just overwhelmed by that beautiful purity, character, sense of place, the fine craftsmanship, that the attention to detail that was put into this wine. It's and for me, this wine has very good resonance. So if I add up all these points, if I did my math correctly, this is 40 out of 48. Now, I haven't been using my scale for very long. The people who've been following along knows that 40 out of 48 is a very, very high score for me. This is many points higher than the 2014 Léoville Prof that I've drunk recently, which is easily 2 times the price. Completely different wine, obviously different region, different grapes, whatever. But just to kind of convey with you, the amount of value right here. Now, Garnacha it's really a to me, it's one of those grapes that for the last year or two has really kind of changed my mind. I think, I don't know if I'm being fair to say this, but I think, on the marketplace, there are a lot of Garnachas out there, Grenache, for example. They're made in a very extremely heavy, candy-like, seductive, way, and they really lack elegance, and they're just overweight kind of wines. And some people may enjoy them. I always find them to be a little problematic, but this has really just kind of wow me, change my mind about what Garnacha can be, in the right hands, in the right terroir. And there's just so much elegance, so much focus. The refinement is is off the charts. This is a very, very serious wine right here. And if you're still on the fence about Garnacha, wow, try this one. This one may change your mind. If you already love Chateauneuf de Pape, if you already love Priorat, why not try a high altitude Garnacha from Aragon, from a master of wine. So what a joy to drink this wine. All right, that's the review. Until next time, cheers, bye.